I want to get started quickly because we have a lot to cover today. I want to make sure we have plenty of time to review for the exam, which is on Thursday. And then give you guys plenty of time to read, review, and study for the exam on Thursday. Okay?
All right.
So we were talking about restorative justice last week. We were almost finished. We had two big pieces to cover at the end, which is really kind of potential pros and cons of the approach according to diverse perspectives about restorative justice. Everyone on page with me? Restorative justice. We're going to talk about restorative justice. Then we're going to talk about jails. We'll run through the jail slides that I put up for you. There's some interesting pieces about jails. I wish we had more time to talk about them. Recall that the jail slides on Canvas, the ones we're going to go over today, are that in lieu of reading that jails chapter from here. So you can forego reading that, just focus on the other readings for this unit. All right? So restorative justice, if you recall, is this fascinating idea people have, trying to change the justice system. Right? They're trying to change the justice system. What's kind of the main emphasis of the restorative justice approach?
It's a victim focus.
I'm sorry?
It's a victim focus, right?
It's a victim, it brings in the victim as part of the focus. That's very accurate. And it focuses also on reintegration. It focuses on repairing harms, bringing the victim as part of the conversation, more so than our traditional view of punishment. And it's trying to not only punish the person, but reintegrate them. The reintegration part is something we didn't talk about that much on Thursday, but when you're reading your chapter in Cullen about restorative justice, you'll see that they view that as a huge part. For people who are proponents of this system, that's a big thing, and that's where actually you can start to agree or disagree. You can have very strong opinions. A lot of people do, one way or the other, whether or not the justice system should focus so much on that reintegration. So, a couple of things, a couple of potential benefits for why restorative justice is viewed by some as to be the way to go, the way to revamp the justice system, the type of things we should be focusing on. The first one is, it seems like if it worked out, it benefits basically everyone. So that's the first one. It's kind of pie in the sky if you're skeptical. If you're a proponent of restorative justice, one of the selling points you're going to try to sell to us would be that everyone wins, in theory. The victim wins because harms have been restored. If it worked out correctly, remember that's a key part. Remember too that the most stereotypical restorative justice approach is a victim-offender conference, where the victims and offenders get together with a mediator or two. They talk about what happened. And that corny video, I don't know if any of you watched it, that's on Canvas. It's like this really weird, like, tell us how you felt when you were victimized. Tell us how that makes you feel hearing about it. It's very corny. In actuality, it's people having a conversation about the impact of that crime, to make the person understand what they did, to feel potential a little bit of shame maybe, or some guilt, but also to figure out how to right the wrong. That's part of that conversation. That's the stereotypical way. If you didn't catch that, that plays out. So other people that benefit, we're still on that benefit number one, the offender. It feels weird to say, this criminal is going to benefit from justice, from a punishment. In theory, yes. In the short term, they're going to be punished. They're going to somehow, the punishment in restorative justice is to repair what they did wrong. So whatever that might be, if it's something as simple as community service hours and cleaning off the walls that they vandalized, to something more where they have to really give back to society, dedicate their time and their money and their effort to somehow give back, whatever it is, they have to do that. But also, restorative justice very much takes a page out of labeling theory. If you recall, labeling theory directs society members' attention to these harms that emerge from our justice system. And when we try to punish people, which is a goal of the justice system, sometimes it harms society because of things that happen to someone. So high rates of unemployment because when we have people with felony convictions, no one can get jobs. People view that as a harm, that labeling theory kind of can explain for us. So restorative justice is trying to avoid those harms. That's how the offender benefits. there's an explicit focus on not only punishing, but after that person's been punished, help them to reintegrate into the community. So we now have someone who was a criminal. This is all in theory, right? Someone who was a criminal who's now a productive member of society. If it could work. That's the kindness kind of part. Okay, so everyone wins. Society then wins too because we don't have this felonious person out and about. We have someone who's productive, integrated, socially normative, part of our community. Second, how do people try to sell restorative justice? They say everyone from any political party can get on board. Conservatives and liberals like it. That's a selling point in some people's view. So why do conservatives like it? Well, it includes punishment. It's not totally getting rid of punishment. This is the argument. If you're conservative, you can decide if you feel it's punishing enough. And you can also decide if you like the stereotype of someone who likes punishment, but it's a common stereotype. It also saves money in the long term. Because why? You're not incarcerating so many people for their crimes. Instead, you're working to reintegrate them into the community faster, to keep them out of prison and probation systems. Why do liberals like it? If you're going to be stereotypical, Cullen talks about this. Why would a liberal person like restorative justice? Well, it has a community focus. That's something we typically stereotype liberals for emphasizing, is anything that benefits the community, local communities, is something that liberals like. So you can choose whether you adhere to these stereotypes. Third, and this is a similar point, a lot of people typically, when restorative justice started to come out as a thing, people were proposing it. Well, let's not always throw the book at offenders. Let's try to help them. People are like, well, that sounds very welfare-like. You're just giving offenders things that other society members don't get because they're criminals. And so as they started to become more nuanced about what restorative justice was, they defined it more as it's not social welfare, it's social exchange. So if someone tried to criticize restorative justice as something where you're just giving offenders benefits, if you're a proponent of restorative justice, your argument is it's not just giving them something. It's a social exchange model. This is the terminology that they've made up. Social exchange. How is it an exchange between the offender and society? They have to repair their harms. They have to give something. They have to sacrifice something. That's their punishment. In exchange for some type of reintegration attempt. Try to